What's up, guys? Welcome back to the South American Challenge. This is Game 2 between Union Gaming and Sad Voids. Currently, Union Gaming 1-0 up in this best of 3. Sad Voids facing down elimination. Let's see if they can actually bring this series back. I'm Mikelorus, going to be joined by GrandisV for Game 2. Man, what do you think about that last game? What's your diagnosis?
I think that Sad Voids went for a draft that would only work if Union Gaming were a worse team. It was very volatile, and they needed to kind of get ahead and maintain that lead throughout the game. As you talked about very early on the draft, in that first game, the Tinker needed to accomplish something, and it really felt like the pick as a whole didn't do anything for the team, anything productive, that is, except for feed a couple kills over to Union Gaming. I think that their lineup, just all things considered, was more stable and, in all honesty, better.
It almost seems like they weren't really comfortable with the Tinker. Like, they were trying to protect him as best they can, but they just failed to do so. But either way, hopefully Sad Voids decide to not go for that again, because that wouldn't really be the best decision. We'll see if they decide to ban out the Enchantress again in this first phase. I would like to see if Union Gaming would be willing to grab it if it's available to them, but we see a Lion banned out first for Union Gaming. Was this hero completely ignored? I don't remember if it was eventually banned out in the last game.
I don't think it was. I think both teams just picked up different supports.
Yeah, so Lion getting no love in the first game and then a little bit of hate in the second game. Poor guy. It's a Skywrath mage, actually, banned out from Sad Voids. Sure, I mean, they banned it out in the last game as well, I believe, but that is kind of a weird ban to see.
Yeah, it definitely is. It'll leave the Juggernaut inside the pool, and Union Gaming will be really happy to see to pick that up for themselves. Although Skywrath Mage is a completely reasonable hero to pick up, it's not something that we're used to seeing first banned, or at least in the last couple of patches has fallen out of favor pretty heavily. Again, we're going to see a first pick Slug. This time, it's for Sad Voids, and well, this opening looks really familiar. It's going to be Sad Voids to get the Earthshaker Slug.
Alright, so if you open up like this, you're also sending the message of, you know, you just won with this, but it's so easy to win with this that we can do it too, and we'll stomp you just as hard as you stomped us in game 1. So there's also like a we're gonna send a message thing going on here, I'm sure, but we saw how effective it was in the last game. Granted, Slark in the early laning stage he didn't really need that much help, since the Union Gaming side very quickly forced the enemy offlaner out of the lane. So this Slark may or may not have the same 100% free farm start, depending on how much pressure Union Gaming decide to put on the Slark. But this is a pretty solid opening for Sad Voids, and it is going to cut off certain picks, or at least make someone like a Sniper a little bit less appealing for the Union Gaming side.
Yeah, but not completely out of the question. Right now, Union Gaming are pretty open to what they want to pick up. It's going to be a Clockwork, and I think this is completely reasonable. Really good against the Earthshaker, although defensive Fissures can somewhat help you if you're stuck inside Cogs. It's not the end-all be-all, and if your Earthshaker is stuck inside the Clockwork's Hookshot Cogs combination, you can't do anything, really. Although it's not the best at stopping the Slark, it's still just a really good initiating hero.
Yeah, they're going to decide to pick that one up over someone like a Batrider. I suppose that's so that they don't have to waste a ban of a Vengeful Spirit, or, you know, they don't have to waste a ban in quotation marks of a Vengeful Spirit. It's still a powerful enough hero to think about banning out if the enemies are looking for supports, but if Sad Voids don't ban it out right now, then Union Gaming are going to be happy to pick that one up. It is going to be the Batrider banned by Union Gaming, so obviously prioritizing the Clockwork initiating power over the Bat. And I think because of the reasons that you just listed, because Batrider has his weaknesses up against Slark in lane and down the line when you're trying to get the initiations off, that this is a pretty good decision from Union Gaming, or at least it's an understandable one.
Yeah, also Clockwork, a lot less reliant on getting up items. As long as he gets his level 6, your Clockwork's pretty much completely online. Sad Void's gonna end up banning out the Sand King, a support that can do a lot against Slark, even when he's inside the Shadow Dance. So maybe that's the thought behind that ban, but there's still a lot of really high-tier supports that are left inside the pool.
Sad Void's draft is kind of just all over the place. Like, I'm seeing nothing here that really indicates that Union Gaming would have wanted to go for an Enchantress, and now Sad Voids are just completely ignoring it, even though Enchantress Juggernaut would have been like a kind of combo. Yeah, I mean, they're just taking out all these supports, and I guess, to be fair, Union Gaming do need to get their supports up, so, you know, no matter what you ban out, it's probably going to stick. Save the Vengeful Spirit for yourself, you'll be happy. But yeah, I just don't know about the Sad Voids ban selection. They're going to take out the Storm Spirit as their 4th, try to get some protection for the Slark. And in that regard, I think that one is completely understandable.
Yeah, I really do want to see that Enchantress, though. After seeing it first banned out in the game number 1, I want to see a reason why, because it really didn't make a lot of sense. But for now, Sad Voids are going to have their pick of whatever they want for this next selection. What do you think it's going to be?
10 seconds
Well, I think it's probably going to be a support hero, because Union Gaming, they need 2 of them. And if you're Sad Voids, you could pretty much cut off the valve of support heroes and make Union Gaming pick up ones that they wouldn't be super happy to grab, then you're going to be in an advantageous position. So, at that point, you are at a stage where you're Sad Voids, you want a support hero, what support hero do they want? With a Shaker already, it's probably going to be a ranged hero that they want. So, I'm still thinking Venge, because Venge is OP, but also Witch Doctor is looking pretty good here, or Rubik is decent.
Yeah, I think it was pretty much just choice between those 3 supports for the most part. Union Gaming going to pick up the Disruptor yet again. Did a decent amount of work in game number 1, and that AoE control is very scary. It combos decently with the Clockwork, but I don't know. With the support pool getting eaten away at a little bit by Sad Voids, I think it's completely reasonable to see Disruptor.
It's a very quick tool that comes out versus someone like Slark, who you need fast disables to deal with. Static Storm is pretty difficult to deal with as a Slark. You might be able to slip away, but you won't be able to escape in its entirety, at least not easily all the time. So in that regard, ultimating the Slark, ultimating the Earthshaker, or hell, even the Rubik as Disruptor, is going to give your team a lot of extra space to work with. And as you said, they just played it pretty decently in the last game, so if it's not broken, don't fix it. Might as well pick up that solid support hero. Their lanes are probably going to be strong enough, even though Disruptor isn't really a super laning powerhouse, to be successful. Just because Juggernaut is such a powerhouse, it kind of balances itself out.
Yeah, well, for Sad Voids next, still lacking 2 of their core positions here, and presumably one of them being the offlaner. What's left inside the pool? The premium tier is pretty much Axe, Batrider, and Clock, but they're going to go for the Broodmother. At this point, Union Gaming don't have good heroes to deal with it, and although we're used to seeing Broodmother as a 5th pick, I think this might work out. Even though Union Gaming's lanes are pretty good, I don't think they're well equipped to deal with the Brood.
With the exception of that secondary support for Union Gaming, it's going to be difficult for them to actually mess with that Broodmother. It's going to shove the Juggernaut a little bit more towards a Battle Fury build. It's not necessarily better or worse, it's just a thing that he has to do because they are currently really lacking in AoE. And their lanes are already more or less set in stone. Clockwork is going to be off laning. Juggernaut Disruptor +1 going to be on the safe lane. They can mix it up to a certain degree, but not to a degree enough where they will be able to have good lanes versus this Broodmother. And now here's where the Sand King ban comes into play. As if you're Union Gaming right now, you want to have someone like a Sand King, any support with an AoE skill, in order to try to hold on to your lanes. And Sand King is probably the best one, or one of the best ones at the very least. Sven is not that one, but I guess you could get around the Broodmother issue by just going and killing her.
Yeah, and by cleaving through all of the spiders. Maybe they don't need a Battle Fury for the Jug after all when you have great cleave from the Sven. Not the hero that came immediately to mind when I was thinking about things that Union Gaming could end up picking up. And it's also in the dark whether this is going to be a support workhorse Sven. If it's core, it's going to make their lanes really janky and probably going to be inside the mid lane. Any thoughts?
Or a support Clockwork?
5 seconds.
I don't know if I want support Clockwork up against a Slark and a Broodmother. It doesn't seem good. But I think this is probably just going to be a support Sven. Mid lane looking kind of sparse for Union Gaming. They don't quite yet know their matchup, but if you look at any of these 3 heroes, it's probably going to be a melee hero going towards the mid lane versus a potentially ranged hero of Sad Voids. And it's not going to be that lean like for mid for Sad Voids, but really their mid lane matchup is going to be pretty easy no matter what they decide to pick up. So they should probably just go for comfort level right now. Hell, in this game, if you're going to be grabbing someone like a Tinker, it might even work out. But yeah, I probably don't do that, Sad Voids, but the mid lane matchup seems very open for Sad Voids.
Yeah, I think a hero that's been ignored in these first 2 drafts that would be really good for them would be a Shadow Fiend. I think that they could very easily get away with it. Disruptor, although can contribute to a roaming ganking duo, really doesn't offer very much of anything except for the utility coming out from Glimpse. It's going to be a Morphling for Sad Voids, and this is also completely reasonable. The silence coming out from Static Storm is going to be annoying, but whoa!
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay. you could go for that, I suppose. So
yeah,
there are games where Huskar is gonna be like Huskar is never going to be like the best hero to pick, or at least I don't think there are many drafts where that will be the case. This is a draft where, for Union Gaming's purposes within their own team, Huskar is not really needed as a damage dealer because they do have enough damage already. But up against Sad Voids, Huskar is also not that good because going up against Broodmother and Morphling, not exactly what you want to be doing. The mischance from In-Cap Bite, the Morphling's ability to just walk away from the Huskar, and the Slark's pretty much invulnerability versus Huskar are going to make it so that Huskar is going to have a very difficult time. As much as I love to see this hero, this is not the game for him.
Yeah. I also kind of want to play devil's advocate, though. Sad Void's damage against a Huskar is pretty limited unless Slark gets absolutely stacked. So maybe he can get off to a really good start, and a build I'd love to see from this Huskar would be an Orchid up against the Morphling. Although, get Armlet and Helm first, or some form of lifesteal. Eventually getting that would be really cool to see. I don't know. I don't really have much else to say. It's really off the wall. These last two picks from Union Gaming. The Sven played by Ztalk and the Huskar played by Paramore. It's going to be an X factor that I wasn't expecting. Nightmare is going to be playing on the Disruptor. Clockwork going to be played by Payox. And leaving last but not least on the Radiant side, Benya is going to be playing on the Juggernaut. That rounds up Union Gaming's lineup.
And for Sad Voids, down a game, need to be winning this one to stay in the SA Challenge. You got Zap Brannigan playing the Morphling mid, who I'm going to talk about in just a little bit. Gix is going to be handling the Slark with Gexos on the Earthshaker. Dumpster's going to be playing the Rubik, and then down towards bottom, Karuba is on the Broodmother. Was kind of caught off guard by the Huskar pick. Didn't get a chance to talk about this Morphling. It was going to be their mid lane hero for Sad Voids, and up until that Huskar pick, they had a pretty open lane in mid, as I said before. So going for a slightly greedier mid lane hero is a good decision from them. Like, Morphling's not exactly the most powerful hero to put in the mid lane. He does decently. He's not going to crush anyone in lane anytime soon, but if the matchup is going to be easy, then you might as well play it in a greedy way. But now that he's going up against a Huskar, I can't say that I've casted this matchup before, but it's not that bad for Morphling. He's going to find Paramore with a Fissure. However, there's a two-man cog off to the side. Dumpster's taking quite a bit of damage right now. Payox is going to get his team first blood, it looks like, and it will be UG to draw first. Morphling getting it slightly after on Paramore. And I guess it's going to be probably even because the Morphling got some kill gold as well.
Yeah, just based on who got that, I'm tempted to say that that even favors Sad Void, since Zap Brannigan is going to have a better time in this mid lane versus the Huskar, but yeah, that's almost a wash. The Sven double Stormhammer into the double cogs was immaculate coming out from Union Gaming, but in the end wasn't enough to save Paramore's, just in a really awkward spot. This lane matchup that you were talking a little bit before that first blood ended up happening is actually a pretty interesting one. I can't say that I've ever seen it, but it's not the worst for Huskar, and it's also not the worst for Morphling.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be a bottle lane for the Huskar. Zap Brannigan is going to, I think, need to get a little bit of regen in this lane. Paramore, though, going for the Blades of Attack first, indicating he wants to rush up that Armlet. Is going to be punishing him because he's going to get walled off from his retreat, and now he's just going to die. Telekinesis there as well, and Paramore is going to call GG. We're going to a game 3, guys. Easy 1-minute victory for Sad Voids. But yeah, this is a greedy opening that you can't really comfortably go for if you're going to be under pressure as a Huskar, because you have no armor. You have 1 armor. It's just not enough if you're going to be hit at all.
No, and the support rotation is going to come up top as Dumpster and Gexos are working overtime. Another beautiful fissure block onto Payox. There's no way out of here, although he's going to be able to cogs in Gix. That hardly does anything. It will put a little bit of damage into the Slark, but not close to enough. It's going to be a 1-3 start for Sad Voids, and really supporting duo is doing a lot of work for them.
And this game is just looking so different from the last. Zap Brannigan is going to have a kind of tough time, it looks like, as Paramore, even with those ganks, is still able to shove the Morphling out of lane. The threat of Burning Spears is real, but if Earthshaker has mana, and he does, and if the Rubik is with him, then the kill potential is going to be there. This Huskar, as Huskar, you want to be playing the lane aggressively, you want to get low on HP, and then you want to spam out Burning Spears. But every single time he pushes the lane just a little bit, there is the threat of a fissure. This time, he is going to back off and he will be safe. But next time, I don't really know if that's going to happen. And also, even right now, he doesn't exactly know if there's an Earthshaker here. Fissure is going to hit him, and they do have a double damage Rubik with the telekinesis. Paramore is going to die again, I feel. And a waveform, actually no, the Rubik double damage hit is going to do it. This Huskar is getting absolutely nothing in this lane, but he is still kind of shutting down Zap Brannigan in between these deaths.
Yeah, 7-3 on the CS compared to the 6-4 of the Morphling. It's not the end of the world for Union Gaming, and he did buy his armlet recipe before ending up dying there. He'll drop that inside the base to not show that away to the enemy team, but all things considered, it could be going worse, I suppose, for this Huskar, but now at a level disadvantage, and with any support rotation, he's going to end up dying. It's not comfortable at all. Bottom lane, Juggernaut going to go pretty strong into Karuba, but Juggernaut 1v1 against the Broodmother. It's not the greatest of matchups for the Juggernaut. In fact, Karuba is going to go and return the favor into Benhez. He's still able to farm pretty decently, but as of yet, we haven't seen the support Sven do much of anything for Union Gaming.
Yeah, he's made an appearance a couple times. Aside from that, first two-man Stormhammer, which kind of just played itself out. Sven is no Earthshaker. He's not the hero that you really want to be hanging around your mid lane just to play defensively, because Sven, he needs a little bit more than Shaker. The Stormhammer is far from reliable as far as, as a massive safety tool. Like, it will land every single time, but it's not going to be the safest of tools, since it's most likely you're just going to hit one person, so it's just a single target stun. And it doesn't seem like Z-Talk is really going to be doing much of anything, as Clockwork up top dies to the Slark, got into a man fight, and he almost won. 6 HP, Slark has to live over towards mid. Paramore going to get additional armor from that Warcry, yet still he's in a little trouble. But a 3-man Stormhammer from Z-Talk. They're going to try to turn these around onto Dumpster, who is burning quite low. Will be going down. In the meantime, Z-Talk is going to look for another. That was quite the Stormhammer. I guess they had to make me my words there.
Yeah, I mean, if you can catch them when they're that clumped out, who needs Ravages or RPs when you have Stormhammer? The fight up towards top was very, very close. Slark just barely eking ahead. I really have no idea what got into them. Both of them probably expecting to win that. Mid lane Huskar going to end up dying again, this time to the Morphling. Zephyr, and again, just an easy wave for him over the top with a couple of auto attacks. Huskar was already pretty low, so it's going to be yet another kill for Sad Voids in that mid lane.
And 4 deaths for the Huskar. He now has a recipe. That's not going to be doing anything anytime soon. The item that you want in this situation is the Helm of Iron Will. Clearly he wants to rush the armlet. Like, obviously he wants to rush the armlet. He picked up the recipe, but this recipe does nothing. Helm of Iron Will probably wouldn't have saved him from any of these ganks, but it definitely would have helped and maybe would have dissuaded Sad Voids a little bit. But it's 5 minutes in the game, and though UG are leading the CS quite comfortably, in fact, they are behind in kills. I don't know how the Slark isn't really getting that much for Sad Voids.
Yeah, it's really kind of problematic. The Juggernaut's getting a lot more farm than I thought he would too. The Broodmother isn't taking over the lane. That's not to be completely unexpected, but it's also not the greatest. Union Gaming, despite being 2-6, this game is really even. All things considered, Sad Voids only have a 300 gold advantage and 300 experience, and if they lose their Broodmother, that could be even worse. She gets dusted up, or at least a couple of her Spiderlings are, and there are sentry wards everywhere, but Karuba is going to survive. Meanwhile, up towards top, there's going to be a Fisher block off onto Payax. He wants to turn this up. The cliff is barely going to miss, as Clockwork is going to survive. Double damage room picked up by Payax as the Morphling wanted to come in. He's going to block himself inside the sidelines, but ends up beating through those cogs and will be able to get out to safety.
That could have been pretty bad if the Morphling was able to grab that double damage rune. Clockwork has some tools getting away, but not when you're right next to the enemy like that. It's tough to make that play, but down towards bottom, they tried to go for their first aggressive attempts, UG, on that Broodmother. Unfortunately, the dust missed, so that happened. And without this Sven there, it will be very difficult for UG to actually kill off this Brood. They have a level 2 spin to work with, which is nice, but I don't think you could actually keep up with the Broodmother and actually get that much value off of the spin. They have to Omni-Slash her, and that's so difficult with so many Spiderlings around. Karuba's going to go deep onto Nightmare right now. He doesn't have any more support. Benyaz, though, does not have enough mana to Omni-Slash. Karuba is going to slip away as Dumpster does come in looking for Nightmare. He's going to instead lift up Benyaz, throw him back a little bit. Nightmare still surviving for a little while longer, but I'm pretty sure he's going to get injected soon. Actually, no, there's no mana on the Broodmother. She can't get this kill, and she will be forced back right now. Just a little bit of mana spent on either side, but the Disruptor probably should be lucky to survive.
Yeah, honestly, I think both of those heroes should be considering themselves lucky. If there was just a little bit more stick mana. Oh, Dumpster over the sidelines. He gets smacked with the Stormhammer, and then one grip from the Juggernaut and a little bit of spin damage. That's going to be end of his life. even after such a terrible early start for the Huskar, he manages to find himself this armlet. He's going to use it, go strong into the Morphling with toggling on. Zap Brannigan can't win this man fight, and Paramore should get this kill. He's out of mana, and with 8 stacks, he's trying to bottle up, trying to survive. Looks like Morphling's barely going to do it.
Yeah, just a little bit of bottle regen in between the actual tick damage. Slark, in the meantime, kills off the Clockwork yet again. I'm just not watching this Slark because it's generally not an interesting lane, but it seems like Slark is just finding a couple opportunities to pounce in and get that damage in, even though his CS isn't quite as high as the Juggernaut, who's getting all the last hits despite being contested by the Broodmother. The Slark is still getting some kills, but as you said, Paramore is actually a pretty threatening hero right now. Killing a Morphling is never really easy, especially when you have no way of shutting down that morph. But even though Huskar has that armlet now, that doesn't mean he's safe. There's a smoke around the corner, and Sad Voids have another kill on their hands. Although Paramore's gonna get walled off the wrong side, Morphling is there, and Huskar won't even get a chance to toggle his armlet on.
Yeah, very unfortunate for the Huskar that time around. They've just been camping his lane, and I think this is somewhat the issue with the reason why the Slark isn't getting as much farm. But down towards bottom, Garuba caught out by the Sven as well as the Disruptor, and with some spin damage added into the mix from Benhaz, they'll kill off the Broodmother. Although Juggernaut hasn't gotten either of the kills, he's been involved in both of them. He's going to go for Midas yet again, although this one going to be quite a bit later. He might just be able to get away with it. I'm not a huge fan of this pickup, though.
Yeah, I think if you're going to be going for an acceleration item in this game, it should be that Battle Fury. Like, it kind of serves the same purpose.
Oh,
It
mid lane
helps you farm.
again? Oh, never mind. Hold that thought. It was just a casual jump from Paramore.
Yeah, just casually using his ultimate towards the Morphling. But yeah, if you're going to be going for an acceleration item, then Battle Fury offers you more dimensions in that. It is harder to get, but it does offer you enough versus the Broodmother that I think it's probably going to be worth it. That being said, what's done is done. Item acceleration is item acceleration, and Paramore is threatening Morphling pretty hard right now in this mid lane. He is still leading the way in CS, even though Huskar is constantly feeding his life away. He's zoning out the Morphling very well by himself. Up towards top, however, the supports have rotated. Really the all-stars for Sad Voids thus far, this Rubik and the Shaker. They're going to look to make another kill happen, and it's going to be maybe on Payox. If he's caught with a single stun, then I'm pretty sure this Clockwork is just dead.
But for now, those two heroes rocking those stuns are not going to end up going for this kill. Under the tower, they'll find it a little too aggressive. Invis rune on the Sven has worn off, and he might find a career, or instead they're going to jump straight for Zap Branding. He gets the strength morph off, but is it going to be enough to save his life? They're going to lift up Paramore, pull him back. He's fissured down, but with the armlet, there's probably no way that he can actually die here. The Morphling just not doing enough damage. Now Paramore is in a position where he can jump towards Dumpster, going to go hard onto the Rubik. Rubik down, Clockwork gets a hook shot, and a kill onto the Morphling in the meantime. DP attempt from Gexa is going to get glimpsed back after getting to the well, only for a brief second to propose. Gexos is going to go down, and everybody from Union Gaming survives 0 for 3 in the mid lane.
If you don't instantly kill off this Huskar, he will armlet toggle you. That's really the weakness of Rubik and Earthshaker. Even though they've been doing an absolute fantastic job in this game thus far, it's pretty much just in their control that they've been doing it. They've been killing off Huskar, who doesn't exactly have the most armor, so their kind of piddly right clicks are actually doing quite a bit towards him. But once he picks up that armlet, then the lack of damage output from these Sad Void supports really starts biting them in the ass, and they need at that point someone to actually go ahead and do some damage, and those heroes aren't quite ready yet. So this is a kind of a turning point in this game where UG, they now have a Clockwork who's active with that hookshot. Got to kill on the Morphling. That's a great way to start. They have Benyes, who's still free farming down towards bottom lane, plus their Huskar is all aboard right now. They're going to maybe look for Karuba down towards bottom. They have Dust, but they don't quite have enough mana on the Juggernaut for Omni Slash. They will play it slow for now, but the score is very quickly being tied up by UG.
Yeah, Healing Horde going to keep Benhez safe down in the bottom lane. But yeah, Union Gaming are looking pretty good. Huskar is going to start jungling with the armlet as well as a Morbid Mask. He can pretty safely do that, and even though he's sitting on no HP at this point, armlet 9 times out of 10 is going to keep him safe unless both the Rubik and the Earthshaker are there. And for now, that's not the case. Earthshaker is staying behind the Slark, and Rubik's down towards bottom.
And Paramore, you could tell that he kind of wants to go for this Morphling. Zap Brannigan is going to be in a little bit of trouble right now. Some spears to start things off, but Paramore not going to go YOLO into that Morphling just yet. Doesn't know who's behind. There is a tier 1 tower there, so TP support is very, very possible. Karuba down towards bottom, though, is getting hit with Stormhammer, very quickly chopped to pieces. They're also going to catch onto Dumpster. They have a glimpse still, plus a static storm, And I think they have Omni Slash. No, they don't, but they're just going to wait and glimpse him back where there's going to be a whole bunch of swords waiting for him. And Rubik does not like swords. He's going to be put into a blender, and he will be killed off. Very easily done by the UG side. 2 kills for them up towards top. Payox is going to kill off the Shaker. Man fight Gix. Probably not a great trade for the UG side making up towards top, but overall it does favor them across the map.
Yeah, looks pretty good. Gix is the only hero on the Sad Void side that's keeping up in any significant fashion. The Broodmother isn't holding her weight and not making space in any significant way. 0 and 2 on Karuba. It's not been a fun time there, and the Morphling is far from battle ready. It's a hero that takes a while to come online, and even though the Morphling does have some nice stat items for this point in the game and can contribute some amount, it's not enough.
Yeah, Huskar just casually going down towards the bottom lane, killing the rune, and then going into the Roshan pit. No big deal there. This Roshan is not going to be spotted by Sad Voids in all likelihood. There's a chance that Karuba sends a random spider in here, but that's probably not going to be enough to scare Paramore away. This is looking like it's going to be a pretty clean Roshan, as he's taking quite a bit of damage from these spears. So many spear stacks there. Roshan is very quickly going to burn, and it looks like it's going to be a free Aegis for Paramore. I know I've seen a game before where Huskar just never really went for boots. I don't know when he's going to get them, if he's going to get them at all, but right now, he's going to have a double life.
Yeah, it's a move that you don't necessarily expect. Huskar is not a hero that's seen very often, but it is something you can do with Helm and Armlet pretty easily. Meantime, Morphling ends up losing his life to the Sven and Disruptor in mid. Static Storm was on point. Now the Huskar is going to jump down towards bottom. TP attempt from Rubik is going to succeed, although he is going to be burned down to about 50 HP inside his base. He does survive.
Yeah, so it's a kill on the Morphling over towards mid lane. Unfortunately, I kind of missed that since I was watching this Huskar, but it is a pretty important kill. You mentioned earlier that the Morphling does need quite a bit in order to get online. Power Treads Aquila is okay, but he just needs so much more to actually do anything. And compare that to the Sven, who suddenly 207 now has a Blink Dagger. The pressure that UG can apply to Sad Voids at this point in the game, with the Huskar being able to blink in, or jump in rather, with the Clockwork's hookshot in and a blinking Sven, is immense. And even Broodmother, who usually can feel safe just sitting in lane, is not going to feel totally safe. If they have any vision at all on her, if they get one of those skills to land, then the other skills are probably also going to land, and there's just no way you can survive that. We've already seen the Broodmother die several times. Paramore, he has a DD rune. He's going to run to Dumpster. Oh my god, that damage from one hit was insane. He's going to get thrown a little bit further back, though. Fissure not going to connect, but he has support coming in. Z-Talk going to land a 2-man hammer. Won't kill off Dumpster, though. Life Break will eventually do it with the Spear, but now Paramore is going to end up losing his Aegis. He has only the Sven right behind him. Actually, no, he's going to Armor Toggle for a little while longer. Pounce not going to do it either. He's going to man fight because he's a warrior. Will lose his Aegis eventually. Stormhammer onto Gexhaus. He will be going down to a Burning Spear randomly thrown previously. Z-Talk looks like he's going to die right now. Morphling is actually, unable to finish the job. Now here comes the Disruptor, so Zap Brannigan, he's going to try to replicate out, but he's going to get glimpsed right back in to that fire, and he will be dying as well. It's a triple kill for Paramore. Some impeccable armlet toggling, and the Sven somehow gets to live.
Yeah, disastrous. Although they do lose that Aegis, Union Gaming are still in a really good spot this game. Broodmother going to get a hand of Midas, which will somewhat help if Sad Voids are able to delay this game out to where the Broodmother and Morphling can become relevant. But really, it feels like Union Gaming's raw fighting power is going to be a little too much. The Juggernaut now has a Mask of Madness running as well as that hand of Midas, so even if they do take this late, Juggernaut might just outfarm them.
Juggernaut is farming them at this point. Sad Voids have to apply some sort of pressure to the Jugger, and the item and the hero that's going to be doing that most likely is Gix with the Shadow Blade. He wants to start doing stuff for his team, has been farming the entire time up till this point, but the Midas and Shadow Blade on Slark is fine if Sad Voids had plans to be going aggressive and trying to look for kills, but Karuba doesn't really have that plan. He has the Hand of Midas, which is good for the Broodmother, but isn't really going to help out in this kind of mid-game aggression play that Sad Voids seemingly want to go for. So not too sure how much traction the Shadow Blade is going to get. That being said, when you're trying to kill off the Huskar, more physical damage is never really going to be a bad thing, so it's still going to help.
But it's also not going to be guaranteed. This Huskar is going to be working towards a Heaven's Halberd as his first item after the Helm and Armlet. He already has the Talisman of Evasion, so actually killing off this Huskar is really hard for Sad Boys. They'll jump in mid, but that's just to clear out the creep wave. Zap Brannigan is already remitted back towards his tier 3.
Bottom lane, Karuba is in potentially a little bit of trouble right now because the Disruptor is right around the corner. They have a gem unfortunately not there, but they have more dust, and if the Broodmother shows her face to try to clear off Creep Wave, then she will be in for a world of hurt. Juggernaut, though, is going to push the lane regardless. I'm pretty sure Karuba is going to end up dying here soon, because they know pretty much where she is. Oh, don't show yourself, Brood. Don't do it. I know it's appealing. I know you want that gold, but it's not a good idea.
Well, she'll continue farming it up with her spiderlings, and looks like the Brood is going to survive at least for a while longer. Oh, there's the spawn spiderlings. They know where she is. Blink forward. Zitok is looking for it. Won't find it. The kinetic field's a little bit off to the left. They'll Stormhammer up these creeps, and with the gem, they spot out the Broodmother. The hunt for the spider is on as Karuba tries to run towards the left. They'll get glimpsed back, however, back into a Juggernaut Omni Slash, and oh my goodness. Rip in pieces, Broodmother.
Even with the Stormhammer not available because the Sven had to use it to protect Nightmare from those little spiders, it didn't even matter. Benyaz, I think, gets the first Omni Slash of his game, and it gets him a kill. So, you know, it's better late than never, I suppose. But, hey, he gets a kill on the Broodmother, who, as promised, was going to die if she showed her face. And there's not really much that you could do about that as any hero, unless you have a BKB. The Slark is going to teleport down to the bottom lane, was probably spotted by this Radiant Observer Ward. So they do know that there is someone invisible walking around.
Oh, Paramore's hasted, and he's up towards top lane. Now bring in the Clockwork. I think this is where we're going to have our next fight. Or is it? Both lanes are really tense.
Well, bottom lane is being pushed right now. Benyaz going to town with that Mask of Madness. Fortification is up. Won't be for long, though. They have vision on Slark. They're going to bring him right back into a Static Storm. Shaker is there with the Fissure, which will hold up Benyaz for now. Zitok taking a little bit of damage in the meantime. Gix charging forward. Wants to go into that Shadow Dance. He will do so. Keep himself alive even through that spin. And Nightmare will be falling down right now. Benyaz and Zitok both on their retreat. Both should make it out alive. Sad Voids, they get a kill there. Requires them to bring in everyone, but hey, they get something.
No. Keep in mind that's also a 3v5, however. The Huskar and Clockwork farm throughout the meantime, if they were there, however, I think that's a lot more than just a one kill. Oh! Benyaz finds himself the Slark. That's going to be his death. Orthling is going to wait for him over the top of this, although it doesn't do damage to Benyaz. He'll still continue this chase, but the Jug's too fast. TP attempt coming out from the Sven's going to survive or be successful, and in the end, it's just one kill for Union Gaming. Now the Huskar is here. Paramore's down on the low ground. Can he actually find a target to stick on, or does he want to? The Broodmother is here. Now they bring in Dumpster. Stormhammer, and with a lift, it should be a kill onto Paramore, but he's surviving a lot longer than he probably should. He'll be able to toggle on the armament. Now turns into Karuba. Karuba is spotted out, although for the time being is going to survive. Leap over to the Rubik. Obliterates a mega kill for the Jug. Karuba still burning in the fire and the flames. Survives on 200 HP. They don't have vision of the Brood, and for the time being, she's going to survive. But still, Union Gaming, out of what should have probably been just one kill for Sad Voids after that bottom fight, turns into two for Union, and now looking towards the Morphin, he'll just replicate back to base.
That was even with Payox missing his hookshot. I believe he connected that on his friendly Juggernaut, who was also trying to get in there, so for all intents and purposes, Huskar should have been dying, but the damage from Sad Void's just not high enough, not sustained enough to cut through that armlet toggle, and Huskar is able to turn things around, perpetually being at that 400-ish HP mark, and it's going to work out for him. Even got a Heaven's Halberd delivered to him mid-fight. Not too sure how relevant that was in the grand scheme of things, but it probably did help quite a bit. He is very difficult to kill right now. He's gone for a very anti-physical build, going for items that increase his armor, plus that evasion. And the magic damage of Sad Voids, it's none too high. Like, it's Shaker and a Broodmother spell. That's not really impressive. Gix over towards his jungle is going to get caught in the Static Storm. Kinetic Field is there. He's going to get glimpsed for a little more Static Storm damage. Looks like they're going to be lacking the killing blow. And he's going to run out of his ultimate, though. One more right click, not quite going to do it. The missile also misses from the Clockwork. Gexos is going to be chased down, though. Kinetic Field going to catch onto two. Payox is going to catch them both, also in the cogs. And Ztok's going to jump right in with the God Strength and clean house. Gix is going to return to this fight, but he's going to get stunned, immediately brought down. Ztok's still alive right now. He's going to get chased down by Zap Brannigan, but all of a sudden, here comes the Huskar. Zap is going to go into his Ghost Scepter, which will buy him a little more time, but definitely not enough. He's going to die as well. That was a bloodbath. It was just the Sven, Disruptor, and Clockwork to do most of it, but they kill off 4 enemy heroes.
Yeah, it's really crazy how Union Gaming have put together this lineup, and I think this sends a message back to Sad Voids. They're playing this lineup that really doesn't function unless it gets ahead, and they're getting ahead, just snowballing it very handily. Right now, their fighting potential is through the roof, and Sad Voids, it's going to be really hard for them to buy enough space to really access the late game that they'd like to, especially now that Juggernaut has a completed Scotty.
Man, Juggernaut is really tanky now. He's already doing a lot of damage, can easily race down any of the Sad Void's heroes with ease. I'm pretty sure Benyaz can also, race a Slark, wait for the Shadow Dance to time out, and then just go ahead and finish the job. He is absolutely dishing right now, and he has almost 2,000 HP. Paramore is a huge threatening hero right now, so this is Union Gaming with, once again, like last game, full control of the game. That being said, Huskars do tend to fall off. So if you have a Huskar on your team and you're not actively playing this game super aggressively, then you are running yourself at a little bit of a risk. So maybe Sad Voids can make something happen a little bit down the line with a farmed Slark and a farmed Morphling, but that is just so far away from the stage right now, because that Brannigan, he doesn't have anything except for a Ghost Scepter. This is not what you want from a mid lane hero. This is not what you want from a Morphling.
No, especially when you compare it to the Sven, who has a Ghost Scepter, a Blink, and pretty much everything the Morphling doesn't, and his ability to actually have an impact is so much greater. The extra armor coming out from Warcry is actually really good against the Sad Void's lineup. The Huskar, with that extra 16, is going to be sitting at a very comfortable 30 armor, which is just something that Sad Voids can't eat through at this point. Up towards the top of river spot, Stagstorm's going to be dropped onto the ground, but that's just to buy Nightmare some extra space. Morphling comes in from the sidelines, kinetic field. I believe that's from the Rubik. It's going to be dropped down. It looks like Nightmare will lose his life. Cogs on to the Morphling, but now that they bring in the Huskar, this could really turn terribly for Sad Voids, and will do so, at the very least, for the Rubik. Zap Brannigan doesn't have a replicate out of here, and he's probably going to lose his life. Waveform is going to buy him some space, and he is very heavily strength dwarf. He's going to survive for a little bit longer yet, but in the meantime, Juggernaut as well as Fen find themselves a Broodmother and a tier 2 tower.
Alright, so it's just a 1-for-1 over in that top-ish kind of area, but meanwhile on bottom, as you said, Benyaz and Z-Talk going to town, killing off the Brood. Not much that Brood can do up against that push, because Brood's not good at counter-pushing, but also when a blinking gemmed Sven is going to be there with his friendly Juggernaut, it's just all over for the Brood. So they're not only going to lose that tier 2, but also looks like it's going to be a tier 3. UG are making some serious plays happen around the map. Even just losing that one hero, not really going to give them too much pause. They're looking for Raxes, maybe. Not quite yet. They're going to fall back knowing that Sad Voids are going to be up in force, but man, the Juggernaut can camp out this bottom lane and become more Broodmother than the Broodmother. Gix, in the meantime, is going to try to man-fight Paramore. He's going to get hit with the Stormhammer. They have the gem there, and they will kill off the Slark. So very easily done. Z-Talk on his support Sven. It takes a really good support Sven to make me appreciate the Sven support, because I just think it's terrible. But Z-Talk is playing it pretty darn well.
4-0 and 14, I'd say so. Right now, even though the tier 2 tower in bottom was denied out by the Broodmother, it doesn't seem to matter. Union Gaming's advantage is almost at the point where it's unsurmountable. Sad Voids, their high ground defense is alright, but they desperately would need a blinking Earthshaker Echo Slam, I feel, if they actually want to take that engagement, especially if there's an Aegis for Union Gaming. It looks like this second life's going to be in the hands of the Huskar, and with a completed Satanic, this man is doing so much damage.
And he has so much lifesteal and health regeneration and all these things. Even with no quote-unquote healers on his team, he's got lifesteal, he's got his vitality, he has a healing ward, which is only level 1 at this point, but with so much HP on the Huskar, it's still going to be juicing him up quite a bit every single second it lasts. So Paramore is going to do whatever the hell he wants, and what he wants includes jumping at the Rubik inside the Rubik's own base. He is going to kill the Rubik, and then he's going to kill whoever else wants to fight. Zap Brannigan probably don't want to fight. Broodmother, you probably also don't want to fight, because Paramore just isn't going to die. Gix, no, you don't do that. Paramore is going to pop the Satanic now. 300 HP, a little bit too low, perhaps, for his likings. But in the meantime, the bottom lane is just being destroyed. More interested to see what Paramore is going to be doing in the meantime. Gexos is caught in a corner, will be killed off by the Clock and the Disruptor both. They see Zap Brannigan, they can't quite get him. Paramore is going to go into the fountain because he doesn't give a damn. Maybe he's not going to go in the fountain, but Rax has taken a cakewalk push for the UG side, and they could look for a secondary set right now because Paramore just doesn't give a damn.
He really doesn't, though. There's nothing they can do about him once, let alone twice. They are going to lose their courier, as Slark does snipe that on the backlines, but that's as much as he can do. Union Gaming already taking a full lane to barracks, and now are going to look to kill off Dumpster. My goodness, that's a dirty amount of damage. Stormhammer is going to be dodged by Zap Brannigan, but now the Omni Slash is going to connect inside the well. Benhaz going to kill off that hero, and
I love it. You Omni Slash the Morphling gets glimpsed out, and you end up killing the Shaker anyway. Karuba also gonna die. Come on, Benyaz. This guy's stacked. He's absolutely out of his mind farmed. So it's not too inconceivable to see that happen, but still, it's just hilarious to get accidental kills with Omni Slash like that.
GG going to be called out as Union Gaming take a very convincing series. 2-0 over Sad Voids, and really it didn't feel like there was much chance. They just commanded both of those maps so very well.
Yeah, Union Gaming stomped their way through Sad Voids in 2 fairly quick games, and that is going to mean that they are going to advance a little bit further in the South American Challenge. It is currently unknown who their opponents are going to be. It's going to be at a future date between either Azurus Gaming or Battlezone, so that one should be a pretty good game. But for right now, it is going to be Sad Voids out of the SA Challenge and Union Gaming to stay in. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this cast, and we sincerely hope that you have, be sure to hit that follow button. Also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. It's both of those .com/HeflaTV. I'm Mikelorus. You can find me on Twitter at Mikelorus. He's GrandisV. You can find him at Twitter at GrandisV. And that is it for now. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next time.